Money boy, money boy, money boy. Trade. Money boy, money boy, money boy. Trade.
Private jet flights overseas. Damn piece.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with Toxic Masculinity, episode 12. What we did yesterday, Prison Reform, Importance of Black Media, part 2, with Tony XP Ivory. And we're going to get straight into it. Let's talk about this school to prison pipeline. What is this school to prison pipeline that we hear so much about?
Right. Well, I think what it is I've actually been in the schools and I've actually spoke with students when I was doing the radio. Part of our mentorship program was to go to schools. And the problem with that is, and again, and I'm not going to say that this is the school's fault. A lot of kids said when they went home, they didn't even eat dinner. They were in unstable homes. The parents were not there and they were hungry and they were just basically ass out. And so when these kids would come to school, they weren't able to focus. They had emotional issues. They had all these things going on. And so I said, as a suggestion, then why don't we start switching up some of the things that we have in school and let's add some things to the curricula that could deal with this. I said, because you'll be creating jobs, right? You'll be giving people that's in a mental health field, you'll be giving them the opportunity to come into a school and to somehow try to help with the problem. I said, it's not going to be the end game solution, but it could be a help. And I said, also, too, what we need to do is institute back the technical side of school back. When I moved to Memphis in '96, and when I moved down here, I bounced around. I started off at Wooddale High School. Wooddale had an aviation program, taught you about flying and being a pilot. Then I left there. I went to Merrill's. Merrill's had cosmetology. I used to go to Merrill's, and as I walked up the stairs, I smelled burnt hair. They was in there learning how to do hair, makeup, the whole nine. And so I left there and I went to Overton, and that's where I graduated from. And Overton had a broadcasting department. It had dance and theater, fine arts, painting, and all that stuff. But even at Overton, students were bused there over to Shedfield for Votech, where they learned auto mechanics, where they learned how to build stuff. And I said, this is what we need, because once you learn a skill, my mom always taught me when I was growing up. My mom's was a trumpet player and a singer for the group called the Floaters. That was a big time group. But she ended up getting pregnant with me at the age of 18. So she had to lead a group. But she always told me, she said, learn something that you can make money off of. It's not just about going to school, get you a skill. And I feel like that's part of the problem with the schools is they're not teaching the skills. They're giving you of what they feel is a curriculum of what they feel knowledge is. But I feel like they have taken away those elements that will cause you to survive in the real world. So when I say prison,
we got to go back a little bit. We started off with saying that kids were coming to school hungry. That's a single parent to prison pipeline problem. That's part of the issue starts at home with the single parents before it even gets to school and before it gets to the skills. I don't necessarily. I do agree that vocational skills need to be put back in school, because I remember being in school having the technical and the what did they call it? What were the two paths? The technical path and the universal path, university path, whatever the fuck it was. I remember that. So I think that's cool, but then people are still getting skills whether they're taught to them in high school or not. They're just having to pay for it, as opposed to it used to be free.
Right. Yeah.
But with these schools, those programs got cut because they cost the most money, because they were actually having to buy equipment and extra shit other than just books to teach the students.
So let me drop this knowledge. Right now, the state of Tennessee Well, let me tell you about private prisons. Majority of your record labels and your media companies own a large portion of stock in private prisons. Um, and y'all can go look this up. And not to say that they're the owners. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is they own a large portion of stock in private prisons. And so in the state of Tennessee, this is on the books. You can look this up. State of Tennessee has a deal with the private prisons that says that it must be a 90 something percent, I think 93% occupancy in these jail cells. And what the private prisons have a deal with the state is to say that if you can't provide us with those numbers, those amount of inmates for those numbers, the state has to pay the private prisons for the lack of inmates being there. So that's why a lot of people were saying that if you kill the education, if you dumb down the education in the curriculum, more than chances, coupled in with the fact that a lot of these children are from single parent homes, that will lead them into prison. And I said, well, I can somewhat agree with that, but the issue that I have is I'm 39 years old. The issue is that I can put a suit on and go in there and be proper, have all my paperwork, and ask for a loan, and I'll get denied quicker than I can go on the street and get a brick and sell it. So it's not just about the schools. We have to really look at the broad thing. These are things we got to change. The way that we portray stuff in the media, because I'm so sick and tired of seeing the Bonquishas and the Ninis or whatever. I got to live my best life. I don't feel like
the Black Queen.
Yeah, I gotta go to the club and turn up. I got to look. When I was growing up, two things that was shunned on from women was to see a woman smoking cigarettes and to see a woman a butt ass drunk. If they did, yeah. Nowadays, women doing lines, they getting high, they getting drunk, they doing this, all of this stuff. And people are, and their girlfriends are telling them, girl, you living your best life. And they got a spit load of kids at the house. And I'm not saying this to tear down black women, but what I am saying is that black women need to wake up. Dick Gregory said,
deserve to be torn down some. They tear us down and we have to deal with it and rebuild and become better men. So they have to go through that same metamorphosis as well.
Right. Because here's the thing, like I said on the last show, as a person that goes to church, they haven't invested a lot of money. I have the God-given right to ask questions. I have the God-given right to have an opinion, to say what I like and don't like. As a black man who has dated black women all my adult life and has been with black women and has invested in black women, I have the right to be able to say what it is you're doing wrong. Because, like I said, we're leaving a generation behind us. We're leading them straight to the pits of hell. Because listen, I tell people all the time, what the black women need to understand is what role she plays in the success of Black America. If you think about this, if you're out in the clubs every night, you out here jumping from here, there, everywhere, and your kids at home eating straight noodles and just eating McDonald's every day, you're leading your kids to an unhealthy life, and you're leading them to problems that some of these, by the time they get our age, these kids gonna be so jacked up because of the food they're eating. Because I've seen so many women at the house tell their kids, go grab a phone and get out of my face. Do you
new fucked up eating habits ain't even nothing new. We grew up with fucked up eating habits too. Our folks may have cooked 5 days a week, but they was frying the hell out of some shit them 5 days a week. Man, I have a question for you. You are a person that invests in stocks. Would you not invest in private prison, something that you know is needed? Because people, like, they have a mandate for a 90% capacity, but you know what they can't make people do? They can't make the 90% of the people out there commit crimes. So would you invest in it? I personally would. Let me find a private prison that's some shit that they got a good price on it. Man, look. Give me as many stocks as possible.
I don't think they can put a gun to your head and say you gotta go out here and commit crimes and different things of that. But as a person who studied psychosis in college, everybody's not strong. And like I tell people all the time, as strong as I think I am, there's some days where I want to do some crime. I want to sell some drugs. I want to get out here and be,
But
but
what keep you from doing it?
what keeps me from doing it is, for one, I got 3 children, and second of all, I think about my community and my people.
Think.
See, I don't.
Word, you think.
Right. And see, the thing is that I have people in my life that when I get weak, I can call. Oh, I bug the shit out of them. They tired of me calling them, but you know what? They gonna steer me back the right way. And we all need somebody like that. We need somebody in our when stuff get hard and you on that line. Hey, bruh. Hey, sis. I need you to say something to pull me down. I'm getting weak out here. And I just think that when you talk about crime, we have to get down to the root of the things and things that we can do to help this. And I tell people all the time, people that say Black Lives Matter and then people who commit crime against somebody that looks like them, to me, are 2 different people. For you to take a life, that means you don't value your own life. You can't possibly care about your life if you can easily take somebody else's life. I was driving my wife's car the other day and I ran over something while we was in the car and I burnt her headlight out. I couldn't even sleep at night. It bothered me until I got that headlight fixed. My conscience weighed on me about a headlight.
Nah, that was
So
MPD, nigga. That was MPD, nigga. You knew they were gonna give you a ticket.
Man. But what I'm saying is, so I know within myself that I can't kill nobody unless it's just downright self-defense, because my conscience won't let me get to that point. And that's the problem. Listen, there was an instance where some young dudes jumped this little white boy in the Kroger parking lot over there on Popular. And so they had a meeting at the what's the high school over there?
East?
I think that's Central.
There's East.
No, it's Central High School over there. No, it's not on Popular. No, I think it's Central. It's over there, like off Union somewhere over in there. But they got a football field over there. And so some of the kids that were involved.
Shout out to my alma mater.
So some of the kids that were over there. Yeah. Yep, Crump Stadium. Yep. Some of the kids that was involved in that met over there. Fox 13 was going to do a story on them. So me being in media, I grabbed my camera. I was invited down there. And I didn't like what the lady was doing on Fox 13. I mean, of course, she was doing her job, but she really wasn't getting nothing out of them. And so some of them kids recognized me from the radio. And so we had a conversation. And I told him, I said, look here, brother, I'm from one brother to the next. I said, I'm not going to excuse what you did because it was some ignorant behavior that you did. But I said, listen, at the end of the day, from one brother to another, here's my number. Call me. If you're going through some things, if you got some issues and you need some help, call me. And the brother looked at me and almost started crying because he never had anybody to tell him that.
Right.
Nobody cared about
no male influence.
No male influence. And so that's the thing. But here's the thing I'm going to tell you. In order for there to be male influence, it goes back to the Black woman until she gets in her rightful place. Now I'm finna address those for the Bible believers.
Her rightful place is in the kitchen just because this is toxic masculinity. Get y'all ass back in the kitchen and shit would be a lot smoother. We got to get back to them Archie Bunker days.
Man, look, we got to... my wife is friends with women from different races. And one of her friends called and she was like, yeah, but before I do this, I got to check with my husband. If he say I can't do it, it won't be done. And my wife looked at the phone like, where they do that at? And I said, that is part of the problem. Is that's that
culture.
Get back in the kitchen, because Society has told you that you are now superior over us. And we got all of this could be fixed. Pookie in the streets, shooting up, robbing, all this stuff could be fixed when they understand where they need to be. And it's not a punch down. This is a rebuke to tell you that you need to get back in your position and play your role. There's no reason why a woman should be married to a man and she's still walking around like she both man and woman. Pipe down and be soft. I don't need you being manly. If I'm the man of the house, let me be the man.
All right, but they strong black queens though. They strong black. They call themselves queens, and the nigga they with don't even call themselves a king. So what?
Right.
Where's your? What are you ruling over?
Right. Ask yourself this question, and I want people out here to ask and really think about this. Don't think about it from your feelings. But if a prison got 90% population in there, I can guarantee you that probably 60% of those people in there are in there because a black woman called the police on them.
Yep. 54% of them probably black, and fuck it, 95%, because I blame black women for 95% of all the shit. So we're just gonna say 95% of them, black or white, in there because a female called the police on them.
Right. Jay-Z and R. Kelly put out a song called "The Power of the P-U-S-S-Y." I encourage everybody to go listen to that song.
No, that song, no. You know what? Back then, that song, we understood what it meant. In the OnlyFans era, hell no. They will take that motherfucker and go, wow, that will set us 20 years back, bro.
No, what I was saying was the point of the song was they were explaining the dumb stuff that men were doing for yeah.
So can you imagine Cardi B as a Meg Thee Stallion remixing that in 2020?
Well, man, I listen. I tell my kids
the power of the WAP.
Man, I tell my kids I don't listen to Cardi B because I feel like I gotta put a condom on my ear to listen to it. I refuse.
How about this? So how about this? Recently, about to be divorced woman somehow she claimed she accidentally leaked her nudes on IG. You took the picture and uploaded it to IG stories of you with your titties out. How do you accidentally upload it to IG? I can see if you were sending them straight to Offset or a dude. That's different. That would be in your text messages. You would share it to a text message, not to IG stories. But then she just gets away and says, "Oh, I didn't even hear the excuse she gave, but she said she accidentally leaked them."
And you know why? Because what average women don't understand is that you have been degraded down to nothing more than a prostitute. And these women that's in the industry, they're selling that for the people that they are signed to. Okay, so whether they want to or not, they feel like they're doing what they're doing in order to keep the bag going. Okay,
I'm not upset with them for entertaining. It's entertainment. I ain't upset with them for it. I'm not upset with Martin Scorsese showing Italians shooting up the block.
Right. I mean, and that's the thing. We have to use our brain and be smart enough to understand that these are actors. This is a portrayal. This is not reality.
Character.
You have to separate it. Yeah, they have to separate reality from entertainment. That's what it is, and not read too much into it. But when we talk about Cardi B, and we can either tie in this Jada Pinkett, everybody was so understanding of Jada Pinkett and entanglement and this, that, and the third. But Offset goes out here, and I'm not saying that either one of them was right, but what I'm saying is that
Offset was justified.
Well, I mean, Offset got
slut.
He got drugged through the mud. But it's my thing. Yeah, y'all drug him through the mud. But shouldn't y'all say something about a married woman putting her naked pictures online? Should that not be something wrong with that?
Yeah, because she's not
going to have those conversations.
Fuck it. When are we gonna talk about she openly said that she used to drug men and have a
Right.
transsexual rape and rob them when she was a stripper.
Right.
But them cheating is worse than that. Like we gotta get a grip on shit.
We got Bill Cosby in prison off of off of much of nothing, and some of the women that said had recanted their statements. But we don't want to have them. We don't want to have those conversations.
I don't know, man. Bill had like 30 years of fucked up behavior, man. It's kind of like with R. Kelly too. I can sympathize with R. Kelly, but if if you go to court and you are acquitted, your ass better not be charged with that same crime ever again, or it looks
Right.
like that's what you were doing the whole time.
Well, I'm gonna tell you one thing I've learned from being in this entertainment industry is that
But
you
the
have to
YouTube movement. Oh, go ahead. My bad.
be careful for nothing. You can't live on the edge like you invisible. Because one thing I learned in this country, money means nothing. It's all about the power. If you look at Bill Cosby, over $100 million, his money did not keep him from going to prison. R. Kelly, your money did not keep you from going to prison. It's all about the power.
Slap
So
Bill Cosby. Because I think a lot of shit we heard speculation, but nobody back in those days came out and said that Bill actually did anything. There was no evidence other than his admission, which wasn't supposed to be put into testimony that they used, where he said
right,
he gave chicks Quaaludes,
right,
but it was common practice. So the Me Too movement that kind of railroaded him, but R. Kelly, I feel sorry because he's a victim repeating victim behavior. He's a victim. He's repeating the behavior that happened to him, and he just couldn't stop
right,
because
right,
he got new cases. Some of the shit is old, but he got some new cases intertwined in this shit.
right. And again, I think that's another issue is in Black America that we have to address is the psychosis and mental health, and stop shying away from it. I grew up my whole life, and all I heard was pray about it, and I'm like, well, obviously prayer ain't the answer. It ain't working. You can't pray everything away. Sometimes we as Black people need to sit down with somebody who's been professionally trained in psychosis and has a degree and that can really tap in to some dark, deep emotions and things that we have hidden.
I agree.
It's hard. It's hard for me sometimes to hear a pastor stand up in the pulpit and say X, Y, and Z, but then out of the next voice we hear that you got a wife, but you got 13 girlfriends across the world. It's hard for me to trust sometimes when you tell me that I'm out of order because I don't wear a suit. Who said that? Who made them rules?
The God of that particular church, that pastor.
And that's the thing. Like, we got to start dealing with the psychological issues of Black America and stop sweeping mental health under the rug and stop making it so taboo. It is a real thing. There is help out here, and there is people that can help, but we have to go seek the help. Church ain't the only option, and I'm not down in it. I'm not, by no means am I saying, but I'm saying that can't always be the only option. Because I'm telling you, and I'm speaking from experience, I had a lot of psychological issues because of that.
Have you noticed how we quick to point out people like Jeffrey Epstein and talk about how white people are pedophiles and all of that, but creepy Uncle Joe, he get a pass. We don't talk about creepy Uncle Joe.
Right. Because
We
you
don't
know
talk
why?
about a lot of these girls are damn it molested before they get 18. We don't talk about it.
Right. Because what we have to do again, we can't make everything a race issue. Because then you take away from other things. What Uncle was doing doesn't matter. If Uncle was doing it, he's just as wrong as a white guy. We can't say, oh, because we were in slavery, that gives Uncle a pass. No, that's two separate different things, and we have to separate that. We can't keep saying because we ain't got our reparations or what's owed us, that we can keep allowing things to go on in our race. No, if you're doing some wrong stuff, you're doing some wrong stuff, and you need to be held accountable. I don't care that our ancestors was in slavery. They don't give you the right to go around and raping somebody and then playing the victim.
I got a question about that. Why is it that we're quick to claim being descendants of slavery when it comes to reparations, but in the same breath we'll say that we were already here? Like, which one was it? Because if we were here, we weren't slaves. The natives weren't made slaves.
Right.
So which one are we? Are we the Moors? We were already here. We was free, or are we the Adolfs, the African descendant of slaves?
Right. Well,
My
think
personal lineage comes from fucking Wales, England. I don't have no ties to slavery.
Right. Well, I think what it is a lot of black people, they use things based for their own gratification. You know,
I check though. If the qualification is being black, I take it.
Right. I think that's I think that's part of the, that's part of the issue. That's part of the problem. I think black people sometimes they I think black people use things for their own gain. Let's see.
Yeah, you back. I just got to take the other one off. Oh, shit. I kicked you off. Just come back in. I kicked you off on accident because you had two of them up. This is the Toxic Masculinity Show, episode 12. I am your host, MONEYBOY Trey. My Titans are 4-0. If your team ain't 4-0, y'all need to do some push-ups, practice harder, and tighten up. That's all I can tell you. Please like, share, subscribe, comment on this video as well. Like, share, subscribe, and follow me at MONEYBOY Trey on all social media. And getting back into it. What were you saying there, Mr. XP?
Hello?
Yeah, that was my bad. I kicked you out on accident because you had two profiles up.
Okay, cool. No, what I was saying is we have to stop, using one or the other depending on what setting we're in. We because what it is it's confusing and it causes division to ever get to a real place of having real conversations about reparations, because as we know, any little loophole to discredit, they will use it. So we got to figure out as a race, were we here before slavery or were we descendants of slavery? We can't just say it out of one breath because we want to seem like we're the almighty superior race. Oh, we was here long before. But then when we need money to buy a McDouble, we was descendants of slaves and we need reparations. We got to pick one or the other. I mean,
real. That's real shit.
Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you something too. I'm paid to believe that 90% of black people, they love ignorance, man. We hell bent on it. I put a post up, which was a link to a GoFundMe. Wanted to shoot a PSA for voting. And I said, I'm raising $1,000 for black media. And to this day, ain't nobody gave $1.
Because you're not LeBron James.
Right. Not LeBron James, not this, that, and the third. But if I get the phone call to be in the next big movie and that goes through and blow up, then everybody see, that's the problem. Part of the problem. The same love we got for celebrities and the same love that we got, that we're willing to do anything for people who don't even know us. LeBron James, Kevin Hart, all these folks can get on here and say donate money. Black folks running to the computer. But you got your own neighborhood who you don't invest $1 in. You don't invest nothing. I see in my neighborhood, we're like a community. When I first moved into my house over here about 4 or 5 years ago, my neighbor next door used to cut my yard, front and back. Whenever he would cut his yard, he would cut my yard. Bro, how much I owe you? You don't owe me anything. You know what I'm saying? And did it for a long time. But again, he come from a different generation. I said, wow, it shocked me. I said, bro, I ain't seen nothing like that since about the 80s.
And he said, I don't know who y'all is. I'm gonna make sure the neighborhood kept up.
Exactly. That, but again, we want to talk about the block. You got so many brothers out here dying, talking about a hood that you don't even own a patch of grass in. Don't own a patch of grass. And my thing is, for Black America to move forward, we got to have a clear plan, not an opinion, not an emotion, but we have to actually have something that will really work, and not just say, well, I want this because of white America did this and white that. Yeah, we know that, but again, that's out of emotion. So you still don't get to the root of the problem or come up with a real solution. You talk out of emotions and get angry, and then you start hollering at each other because you want to prove that.
What Black people's plan is right now? Black people's plan in 2020 is to vote, as if Joe Biden somehow miraculously happens to win, that life and all the shit that's been going on in 2020 is going to miraculously change. That's their plan. Vote. That's all the Black people are talking about is vote. But then when you're Ice Cube or P. Diddy and you come out and say, hold up now, we might not want to just willy-nilly, and I hate to give Umar Johnson his props, but he said too, like, what the fuck? You might need to hold your vote at some point, Black people. But that's what they're telling all Black people to do, is go vote, as if that's going to change their life. And then they're saying that as if all Black people are Democrats. And that's starting to baffle me and piss me off, because it's like we're the only race that has to vote one group. That's it. It's like we can only vote Democrat. Otherwise, we're ostracized, criticized, vilified, all the other shit. They called me a coon, and so I embraced it and said, you know what? I have critical observation of you niggas, because I have to be a Democrat, but y'all tell me all the time that Black people aren't a monolith. That's the biggest lie that we love to tell. We're not a monolith until it comes to religion or politics. Then it's you gotta believe in God, or you gotta believe in, or you gotta be a Democrat. Other than that, we ain't no monolith.
Because you know what, the truth be told, Black people don't make up enough percentage in this country to make a real difference anyway.
I wouldn't say that. Jews don't make up that much, but they hold a lot of power.
Well, it kind of goes back to what I talked about, you know, during the Prohibition, is that at will, whites, Jews, and Italians will combine themselves for a higher purpose. The issue with Black folks, we don't have anybody to combine with, because we too busy fighting it. The closest that I would say is the Mexican race of people, but we even divided between them. And listen, right across the street from my house, Mexicans was able to buy their house for $4,000 cash, right? Because it was a fixer-upper. I'm trying to get the property next door to my house. That vacant land is $30,000. $30,000, and they bought their house, land with a house already on it, for $4,000.
Yeah, different owner, different circumstances.
Yeah. Yep.
And that dude could have just been ready to get rid of it right quick and have his hands washed through it, the property taxes, all of that shit. He could have had big property taxes on it.
Right. Yeah. But what I'm saying is that we should be garnering relationships with them instead of being enemies against each other.
Well, we're supposed to do that with anybody naturally. That's right. We're supposed to typically do that, and you only do that typically when you get out and you experience the world. Some of us have never even worked with white people.
Right.
Other than the white guy being the supervisor who they see for a few minutes out the day, and that's that on that. They haven't been around them.
Right. I'm gonna tell you, you know, by working in the entertainment industry, and doing the radio, you know, we ran 3 different radio stations at one time. We ran a rock and roll station, a gospel station, and we ran a hip hop station. And of course, the rock and roll station, all the DJs that did shows on there, they just happened to be white people. And when I tell you, when they came in there, it wasn't no color, it wasn't nothing. We wilded out and had some of the best fun I ever had in my life. I'm just being honest. And that's not to take away from anything else that's going on. In any situation, you're gonna have good and you're gonna have bad. As the old saying say, you take the good with the bad.
I mean, they do when it comes to that damn Bible. They blame every bad thing on Satan.
And
so
Satan,
it's not a new concept.
And Satan going to God like, Lord, man, they blaming everything on me. I ain't even had nothing to do with that.
Right.
He decided to do that. And God like, I know, I understand.
You signed up for, bro. Play your part.
Yep, play your role in your position.
You still my nigga.
If you drove over to Sally's house and slept with her, don't blame that on the devil. You wanted that. You wanted to get that. That's what you wanted.
Yeah, buddy. That old devil creature. I tell people all the time, since I left religion, I hadn't seen Jesus or the devil. Which isn't a far stretch, because even when I was in religion, I never saw the motherfuckers. But like, they don't even cross my mind at all to even think about or see them.
Like I said, you know, whatever people choose to follow or not follow, I say if you're gonna follow religion, at least be 100 about it. You know,
do it right. Don't half-ass it.
Right. And that's the thing, because your half-assedness, it might be the deciding factor of what turns somebody away. Somebody might be really going through something, but your cockiness, your sense of entitlement might turn them away, might lead them to doing something that they probably wouldn't have did. I'm gonna give y'all this example. Right when we was getting ready to get married, me and my wife, I got 2 kids and she has a child. So we were literally going to be blending families together. And that was a big issue for us, right? Trying to balance that, because I have a 20-year-old, a 14-year-old, and she has an 8-year-old. Well, they were a little bit younger at the time, but I'm just saying, I'm giving y'all the ages. So I called a pastor, reached out on Facebook on a Sunday, and the first thing he tells me is, basically, I'm bothering him. He says, hey, I'm trying to relax and chill. Basically, call me tomorrow. And I'm like, man, if I had the gun in my head about to pull the trigger, I'd have went on and pulled it. So I obliged him. I called him the next day, reached out to him. Hey, man, really need some counseling, man. Just really kind of mentally going through some things. The man told me, bro, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I'm real expensive, man, when it comes to this counseling. But I'm the best that ever did it. And I'm like, am I talking to a pastor, or am I talking to the Lil Wayne, best rapper alive? I'm the best that ever did it. Man, I'm gonna go all the way back to your childhood and get all this stuff and this, that, and the third. I said, you know what, bro? Have a nice day, man. See you later. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you had the Uwa Johnson of this counseling shit.
Man, like I said, holla at your boy later. I'm good, bro. Defriended him on Facebook, and I walked away with a bitter taste in my mouth. You know what I'm saying? Like, and everybody don't bounce back from that. Everybody don't bounce back from that. You know, and that's why I tell anybody, whatever you do, man, just be 100 about it. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing I learned from religion is that whether you're doing right or wrong, you get more respect out of God if you 100. You can get more respect. Hey, look, I know it's wrong for me to might be popping these pills, but man, look, I just like doing it though. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then at that point, I had an uncle that was an alcoholic, right? And this is what I learned about alcoholics. I said, man, the hardest part for an alcoholic is to admit that they got a problem. Most alcoholics will tell you, I ain't got no drinking problem. Just because I take 1, 2, maybe 3 drinks without my alcoholic. And it's a real thing. Like, I said, man, look, once my uncle admitted that he was an alcoholic, bro, he was able to get it under control. And he told me, he said, man, look, he said, nephew, once I out loud said I got a drinking problem, he was like, I was able to start dealing with it. But he said, man, for so long I was in denial. I said, that's it right there.
Shout out to the women that suck dick on Saturday and go teach the youth Sunday school class. Y'all are the real MVPs.
Man, look, I got some stories about church, but that's another show. All I can say is that whatever you choose to do, be 100 about it. You know, that's it.
So are we in agreement that this prison to school pipeline thing is a myth? Because again, we always point to saying that education is the key from not going to jail. So we can't say the school's set up to send us to jail, but at the same time tell us we need to educate ourselves in that system that's set up to send us to jail. I think it's just more of a talking point for pro-blacks to kind of get the wheel spinning.
Right. I think it is. And I think too, I think it starts at the home, you know, and I'm trying to teach my daughter that what you do in your 20s will affect the rest of your life. You know, one thing I learned in Black America, we've all heard this, man, your 20s is your trial and error. Turn the F up, party, do all this, sleep around, do this.
I can agree with that to a certain extent.
Right. And I'm not saying, and like I told my daughter, I want you to have fun. I want you to have experiences. But I also want you to understand that you need to be working towards putting yourself in position. You don't want to be 30 and 40 and you decide to have kids, and because you ain't figured out your life, now you a single parent with trying to work 2 and 3 jobs, and now you got kids you can't afford to raise. You can't afford to be there because you're trying to put a roof over their head. That's my thing. I see some women get pregnant and I'm like, you already got 3 kids you can't take care of. Why are you having unprotected sex?
Because it's a check now, brother. You know this. We know why, because it's a fucking check and it's a hustle. There are no term limits on welfare. There is none. Just have another every 9 months. Just have a baby, and we got you.
Yep. And it's just that. And it's just like that. And again, that's why I said we have to be able to be comfortable with being uncomfortable to have these conversations and take the emotions out of it. And once you take the emotions out of it, then we can start fixing these problems.
Real talk. We have these conversations all the time. Black women, when they're upset at other black women, first thing they talk about is you on welfare, you got such and such kids and baby daddy. So we already talk about it. We just talk about it when we're trying to shame or bash somebody else.
Right. Exactly.
We point that mirror back at them and be like, well, hold up. Like, this is what we already talk about. Y'all do this anyway. Like when I pointed out to black women saying they don't get protected, I'm like, hold up. Y'all do realize like every day a black man is either killed or goes to jail trying to protect one of y'all. Right. Y'all get on the phone and call a nigga quick and they pull up and do something and somebody dead, other one in jail, y'all go on to fuck up some more niggas' lives.
Yep, exactly. I tell them. And man, took the words right out of my mouth. How many times have we heard, I'm gonna call my big brother on you? Just like the incident, I think it was out there, was it North Memphis?
Walmart.
Where the old lady got killed in her yard. Because
that was in Fraser.
Yeah, because some women were out there fighting young. They got on the phone, called
the nigga with a gun.
Yep. And these young niggas don't know how to shoot no pistols. They just firing and killed the innocent old lady. Yeah.
I take it even further. Remember that mom, I think it was earlier, it was either earlier this year or last year, the mom said that she was kidnapped in a white van and she called her sons up there and they killed that dude. And
Right,
surveillance tape showed no signs of her being kidnapped or no scuffle or anything. She
right,
threw her kids' lives away. She didn't face no charges.
right.
But
That's just like
she made the phone call though and hadn't she knew what kind of kids she raised. She knew if they were hotheads, they were gonna come up there and do something. And
right.
that's the type power that women actually have. So they don't need to hear the power of the PUSS right now because they already slick. They got the power and don't even know it. Let them be aware of it.
Yep.
I would be scared.
Yeah. Yeah. None but facts. Again, Dick Gregory said he said the most one of the most powerful things was the black woman. But he said she got to be directed in the right way. And I mean it's the truth. Got to be.
Motherfucker, it's like trying to steer a 500-pound black Angus bull in the right direction.
Happen not gonna.
Harder than it
Happen not
seems.
gonna. Happen not gonna. Man, I just want to tell everybody out there, man, support shows like this, support shows like what I got going on because we are the last of the Mohegans. We're not afraid to take the abuse and the comments, and we are aimed at making sure that you get pure knowledge and get the truth. And again, sometimes we got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. May not be some issue you used to hearing, but I guarantee you some stuff you need to be hearing. This
I had
will
to
help.
stop you again. What we're saying is nothing different than what most of our mamas have said to us or worse. We done heard it
Right,
before.
right,
I don't know that.
exactly.
I don't understand why niggas act like the stuff that's being said is it's so shocking. Most men that grew up in a single parent house, when was the first time they heard the word bitch or hoe or
Right,
slut or
right,
fast? It wasn't from no dude.
right. From the mama. Yep.
Oops.
Woo woo.
95% of the problem. Always.
Right.
I know y'all can always come on and debate me on this. Yes, two women tried already, and the Most High came in and just intervened and told me I was right. So y'all can try to take on me. And God, we a tag team, nigga.
Man. Yeah, but I do want to take a moment to shout out my wife. As we get ready to celebrate 2 years of marriage, uh, found a rare one, man, out the wolf pack, and
Congratulations, you're a better man than me.
and man, yeah, it's crazy because I had just left a situation where I was in a marriage for like 17 years,
Damn.
and
And you
yeah,
want to get married again?
well, I mean, yeah, well, okay, so I'll say this. At first, really had no intentions of getting married, but it's like I had a list of things that I was looking for and a list of places I was trying to go. And it was like, goddamn, this woman was knocking down things off the list left and right so fast. It was like, for the first time, the woman catered to me, asked me what the fuck I wanted, made sure I was straight, asked me how can I help get your dreams to the next level. And I'm like, shit, I'm 30, I'm 35, and I ain't never heard no shit like that before. Blew my mind. So I'm
Right.
like, shit, when you find something like that, nigga, you got to lock that up. That's a rarity. The gas
Especially
pump is on. You ain't paid in advance. So
yeah, I ain't mad at you for that one. I
yeah,
just
so
I just got my own issues. I don't know. I got too many issues. I don't trust people.
right. Oh, I'm the same
We can
way.
be long time, whatever, but marriage, and I was close to being married once. I was three months away from marriage.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. But I said this the last one for me. It don't
And
work out.
you know she was a good woman. Her parents was gonna pay for the wedding.
Oh wow. Yeah. Yeah.
You know she was a good one.
And let me say this too. to
You
people
owe
out there.
me half of that damn degree too. I ain't forget. I got two motherfucking bachelor's degrees out here. I should be able to put them together and make me a whole.
Right. I want to say this too while we're talking about marriage, and I especially want to speak to women. I don't care what race you in. If you're only getting married because you want to have this grand day and to be the envy and be the jealousy of all your friends, you are getting married for the wrong reasons. I see too many times people spend thousands of dollars on a wedding and haven't groomed, and women and men haven't groomed themselves to be a husband or a wife. Don't get married just so you can have some bragging rights on Facebook to try to stunt. If you're not ready to get married, if you're not ready to really do what it is, women, if you ain't ready to be no wife, if you ain't ready to cut 30 niggas off, then don't get married. Okay? Because we can't keep raising a generation of single parent homes. Can't keep destroying good people that have feelings. So that's my last rant.
Nigga, the single parent homes ain't coming from divorces, because typically in a divorce, that man and that woman, that they have a relationship with their child, so shit typically runs smooth between them.
Yeah.
Unless
Sometimes
the mom just tries to be an ass and get sole custody and all of that. But
right.
if you married to somebody for 10 years and y'all got two kids, ages 9 and 7, that man, when he separates, he's still going to want to be a part of his kids' lives.
Right. And women, let them. Don't use them as a weapon. Let them be in their lives.
Well, that's what ended up getting him killed, but that's another story.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Saying it's right, but there's a cause and effect of everything.
Yep. There sure is.
And if we're gonna be appalled at me saying that's what gets them killed, we gotta be just as appalled at all the women that kill their kids in all types of unscrupulous ways, including abortion.
Right. Yes,
Oh,
sir.
nobody's toes. So in your I was asking you about yesterday. I was asking you. I said, what made you want to interview Louis Farrakhan?
Okay, so this is how the whole thing came about. I had said long before I started radio, I used to tell people that hip hop and the Nation of Islam were hand in hand. I said the Nation of Islam provided security for a lot of your big name hip hop artists. And so what happened was Memphis native Drummer Boy, who's a big time producer, they had an event at the Rumble Room. I think they were doing something with K97. And as Drummer Boy was coming in, a brother by the name of Kareem Ali was his bodyguard. And so I got to talking to Brother Kareem, and I told him about what we were doing. And he was one of Minister Farrakhan's right-hand security guards. And so he came on the show, kind of heard about what we were doing, researched it, and he passed the information on to Minister Farrakhan. And so Minister Farrakhan people reached out and said that we're doing a broadcast called Who Are the Real Children of Israel? And they said, we want your company to be a part of it. We want you to come down to Atlanta and we want you to stream to your audience. And they gave us full access. And I said this, I said, as long as I've done media, I've reached out to several people who talked the talk and said they were willing to help and do this, that, and the third, but nobody came through. And I said, Minister Farrakhan was a man of his word. He said he was going to do something for me, and he did it. And I said, at that time, to me, that trumped everything, because all I was getting was empty promises. So I actually got to meet the editor of the final call. I got to meet with Minister Tony Muhammad, who's over everything west. If you're going out west towards Cali, he's over all of that. He was the personal advisor for Michael Jackson. I got to sit down and have conversations with these people. And we made history. We broadcast it to over 16 million people for that broadcast.
Wow.
But let me explain something to y'all, what happened as a result of that. See, though I like some of the things that Minister Farrakhan says, but I go back to what I said. He gave me the platform, but a platform with no finances really only gets you so far. And I said, this is what I said. And I said this to a TI, and I said it to Farrakhan. When you get up here and talk about we need land, we need this, and we need that and that, the question or the kickback that I have, and this is just my personal question, is that you're telling us to go to war, but you're hidden in the castle. That's my thing.
If we need land, why can't the Nation of Islam, who has untold riches, purchase?
Right. And again, for the Bible scholars, I broke this down. They use this parrot of teach a man the fish he can eat for a lifetime. I said, well, let me challenge you on that. What good does it do me to know how to fish if I don't have the boat, the lures, and the fishing rods?
Well, you don't need a boat to fish.
No, I'm just saying you don't need it, but I'm just saying if I don't have the tools to go along with the knowledge, then it does no good just to have the knowledge. You have to have the resources. You telling me to buy land, but if I'm barely paying my light bill, where am I gonna go buy some land from?
Right.
You selling bean pies and fruit in newspapers, but I ain't once seen the nation step up and say, well, we gonna come in the neighborhoods and we gonna donate a certain amount of money to help revitalize these neighborhoods. We see these young brothers killing each other. We gonna put some money into the. Never have you heard them say that. Never. Listen, one more thing, minister, and this what made me kind of think twice.
Allah needs your money. Run them donations. Allah needs your money. He has a savings and checkings account at the bank of something somewhere. So God, not just God needs your money, but apparently Allah does too.
Right. So check this out. So Minister Farrakhan came here and he did this nationwide tour where he went from popular cities to popular cities, meeting with the influential people that was in the hip hop culture, right? And so Minister Farrakhan came to Memphis and he met with those of us that's in the hip hop community. Me, 8Ball, MJG, several other what was considered influencers in the hip hop community. We all met down there with Farrakhan. Oh boy, he had everybody riled up like Black America was just going to be on fire. The whole time Minister Farrakhan had his stuff mic'd up and had 3 cameras pointed at him. After he got done with his speech, he had a table in the back, and with that speech that he just gave to us, they were burning DVDs to sell along with other DVDs he had.
That is capitalism at its finest, man. Fresh off the presses.
Right. And I'm not saying like do your thing or whatever, but what I am saying is that at the end of the day, how are you trying to motivate me? How are you trying to motivate me? But at the same time, I'm already struggling, and then you're motivating me. You're trying to sell something to me.
It's no different than the nigga that has this self-help conference that says he wants to help you and you got to sign up. And it's like $35 or $40. And then once you get there, he got another $50 book to get you started with it. Because, you know, that's pretty much that is life pretty much. Hell, that is the basic premise of education. I have to sell you this education so that you can go out and make a living.
Right. Yep. Man, listen. Again, I tell people, and you said this, and that put a thought in my head. Things we're saying is not nothing you hadn't already heard. It's been told over and over and over again, but somehow people act like this is new information. But the best thing I tell people that you can do that won't cost you a dime is to like, comment, subscribe, and share. If you don't agree with it, there may be somebody else who does.
But even if you don't agree with it, put your comment there. Your opinion is valid. I might not give a fuck about it. I might not respond to it, but it's valid. Right. I don't mind you letting people know. It was a chick that came in trolling when we were doing that, when I did the flat earth shirt the other day. And I guess she was expecting me to get all torn up because she was saying no intelligent person. I was like, hey, you entitled to your opinion, but It is what it is. Like, I can't be mad at you.
Right. Yes, sir. Well,
Speech, nigga.
yep. I just want to tell you guys out there, man. I want to tell you, man, thank you for the opportunity, man, of bringing me on here and letting me share my opinion. Great conversation.
No problem. Let these people know where they can find you at.
It's Tony XP Ivory on everything. Simple as that. Just Google it, type it in, and straight just like that.
Well, yes, ladies and gentlemen, this was Toxic Masculinity episode 12. I am your host, MONEYBOY Trey. I was here with Tony XP Ivory. We hope you guys enjoy it. And we will be back with more
For sure.
episodes and shows of other random shit as it comes up, especially as the election nears. Because right now they've been talking about, oh, this voter suppression and it's taking too long to vote. Like, voting has always taken a long time. I don't know why y'all niggas acting like this is something new. Like, you niggas is, I don't understand. Like, y'all do realize we didn't vote Obama in. Like, Obama was going to get in with or without us. We are the minority.
Right.
So stop thinking like, I don't like Hillary won the majority. That's what people kept saying. So if Hillary won the majority, that lets y'all know your vote does not fucking matter.
Right. Exactly.
Otherwise, you wouldn't keep telling us that Hillary won the majority of the votes.
Yep.
The popular vote.
Yep.
All I know is no matter what president wins or loses, policy's still gonna get passed that they don't give a fuck about my opinion on.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
Just this good old prison reform. Oh yeah, did we get into prison reform? Like what do they mean by that?
I don't even know if they know what they mean by it. Listen, again, and I said this on the previous show. The system they has in place works for them. Why would they want to change it?
Well, shit, Trump apparently does. He signed into some laws and stuff for prison reform, something that Obama, the first black president that y'all love to claim, didn't do in his 8 years, nor did Biden when he was co-pilot with Obama for 8 years and 40 other years in there. Like, I don't, like, y'all do not realize the guy that's telling y'all he can save black people wrote the crime bill. The lady that said that she can save black people enforced the crime bill that Biden wrote.
Right.
They literally locked up niggas.
Right.
Donald Trump has freed some of those niggas that they locked up, and y'all saying he racist. I don't even know if that's right. I don't know what racism is anymore. I'm confused.
And I said the same thing. And here's the thing. It's kind of like slavery, in my opinion. Slavery ended because they felt that ending slavery was for the betterment of the country. And I think that's what Donald Trump understood. As you think about it, how weed is now being legalized in different states in this country, the prisons are really losing a lot of the legs to stand on. You know, weed may be the start, but I see some other stuff one day maybe getting legalized. And then they don't have much legs to stand on. So now we can have those talks about prison reform because for the betterment of the country. If these private prisons are saying that if y'all can't get folks in here, y'all got to pay us. If folks, not just black people, but people can't get locked up for weed no more, that's a large percentage of your population that will not go to jail.
Well, now that I'm thinking about it, saying what the private prisons saying that they have a mandate, the private prisons are being built because there's overcrowding at the state government facilities.
Right. And like I said, as things,
it's like they're renting out their facilities, so they really don't. The state needs them more than they need the private prison. So it might be a stretch on the private prisons needing a mandate.
Right.
Because they're in business simply because there are too many inmates.
Right. And I think again, as different policies get passed, things become legal. I feel like that's why we're able to have those conversations, because they have to do what's in the best interest of the country. And I
If they
and again,
speed up the death penalty, there would be less jail overcrowding.
right, because again, if a large portion of your people are locked up because of drugs, weed, and now weed is being legalized, the government is like, look, we legalize weed, now we able to tax it and make money off of it. So now they having to go back and say, well, people that were locked up for this, what are we going to do about them? What about their criminal records? And so these are conversations.
There's nothing they do. I mean, shit, it was against the law at the time. It's not. There is nothing to go back and do. Not on shit like that, like on some wrongful conviction shit. Yeah, restitution needs to be made. But if you
Right,
got caught and the shit was illegal back then, it was illegal back then. Shit changes. It's no different than the bootleggers. When prohibition was in, you got caught with whiskey, your ass went to jail.
right, yeah, and again, what goes into that is the people that were able to get away was because they were able to buy their way into the police force. They were able to put politicians in office. They were able to put people on the prohibition boards. So they
Well,
had people.
there was some smooth criminals out there too. Now
Yeah,
it's always
yeah,
been some slick willies.
yeah. So again, that's the situation that we have. But man, again, I want to thank you for letting me come on, man. This has been some great conversation.
For sure, for sure. Oh, you brought up slavery. Last one before you go. You brought up slavery. Was slavery a choice?
Um, that was one of the hardest questions I feel like that was asked, because I feel like in life you always got choices. I think it was a choice, in my opinion. You had the right to just conform, or you could have had the right to rebel.
Or die.
Right. And I think that if enough of us had rebelled, or would have died, it probably would have made a bigger impact, and it probably wouldn't have happened. But again, I feel like that where white America has been clever, or the powers, I would say, I guess, before I get out of here, would be clever, is that Black people are very emotional people. And so I feel like it was easy to play off of that. You throw this concept of God and religion and in front of them, and I feel like they help play a role in it.
Just think about this before you leave. Just think about it. We outnumbered the white people on their land probably like 30-1. We did everything for them, as far as saddling up their horses, running their bath water, cooking, shaving, all of it. And they never feared for their safety. They never went to sleep not worried about a whole bunch of them. Like, they never feared it. That amazes me.
Yeah, they tapped into a certain part of the psychosis brain of Black people that involved loyalty to them, whether we wanted to admit it or not. But that's what it is, man.
Well, I ain't gonna hold you too much. I ain't gonna hold you no more, y'all. We gonna get up out of here. Toxic Masculinity, MONEYBOY Trey, Tony XP, Ivory. We are out. Like, share, subscribe, comment on this video.
Peace.
And broadcast.
MONEYBOY Trade. MONEYBOY Trade.
Private jet flights overseas.